Hi, this is John Barnes, and you're listening to Kop On.
Welcome to Kop On Podcast, your beautifully crispily cooked bacon bit with salad and a ranch sauce. This is Kop On Podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to be bringing it to you with three absolutely special and marvellous guests. Nigel, Douglas from the Dugout Football Channel, and Kev, aka Spider _LFC on all the best platforms out there on social media, TikTok and the likes. Wonderful to have you with me, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Sunday evening as we're recording this, and we're going to start with the Paul Joyce, Florian Wirtz. Latest, as we're recording this, is that Liverpool's 113 million bid has been rejected by Bayer Leverkusen, and the headline in the Sunday Times is that the offer, which included 100 million up front, was still short of the German club's 126 million valuation of their star playmaker, who is keen on a move to England. Now, we've been talking about Wirtz as a fan base. Of course we have, very excitedly, and I've been too exceedingly excited. But personally, and I'm willing to try to convince Nigel and Douglas and Kev that I don't think Florian Wirtz is worth 126 million. And I can explain why. But first, I want to know if you agree with me. Nigel, where do you stand on this? 126 million. Shall we hold our ground or walk away? Or, just pay up and get the man in?
No, don't walk away. Push it on now and get it over the line. I haven't seen that much of him. I've seen bits, and I've been impressed when I have seen him. As I said earlier, the annoyance factor of us getting him and how much we're paying for him is good enough for me to get this deal over the line, because opposition fans are going absolutely ballistic about us signing Florian Wirtz. They can't believe that we're going to get him, and I don't care how much we pay now at this stage. I want him in red next season.
Okay, well, fair enough. Douglas, where do you stand on it?
Yeah, I think it's a real deal for me. I think I look at what he does in this Leverkusen team, and he's sort of the pinpoint. He's the sort of the main threat in that Leverkusen side, and his stats are really, really impressive. And look, I'll never justify. Look, I keep saying this as well. I don't think anyone is worth the kind of money that they are at this moment in time. But the fact that we've scouted him for 3+ years, and I just think he is going to improve our team massively. And I'm a huge Florian Wirtz fan. I think he's an amazing player. And I think one more offer will do it for us. If I'm being honest, I do think that we're coming to that. We seem to all meet in the middle. I think we will meet in the middle, and I think it will get done. So he for me is a rare breed, but for me he is worth the money to get him, and I will be so happy when he's in the red of Liverpool.
When, not if, Douglas, you're feeling that confident.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, I don't think we'd ever be saying this, but when did you ever feel Liverpool would spend 100+ million on one player? Because look, the Premier League title win, I think that was like 190 million pounds worth of money going into there. If the rumours are that we've got a 250 million pound budget, then obviously we will get players on. But we are in a very special position right now at the fact that we're paying over 100 million for one player. I never thought in being a Liverpool fan these days that we would ever be in that position. So this is very, very special. We're not going to let this one slip. And for me, it is a matter of when, not if, that Florian Wirtz becomes a Liverpool player.
Very interesting answer. I mean, the person who immediately springs to mind is Caicedo. We bid over 100 million for him, only for Chelsea to swoop in with their greasy mitts and slither him away from us. Kev, where do you stand on it, Wirtz? I mean, you've had some good arguments from Nigel and Douglas that he is worth it. What do you reckon?
Well, I'm kind of in the same camp as the two lads. yeah, on one hand, I don't think anybody's worth that money. I think football's gone crazy these days. But at the other hand, on the other hand, he's probably one of the best, if not the best, number 10 out there in the world right now. I mean, you had good Bayern begging to come. Their fans were screaming. You see City at the cup final, their fans were, every single question that the reporter was asking, the fans were just like, just get in Wirtz, get in Wirtz, get in Wirtz. And I was like, okay, this guy must be the real deal that they're all kind of going after. No, I watched a lot of the Bundesliga last season. Especially, going the last few years over to play with the band in Munich, you got into a lot more. I used to be into it years ago, but I got back into it a bit more about 2 or 3 years ago. And I watched him and I was like, who's this guy? And he, there is that element about him that he can change games on a whim. Whatever about Liverpool and the way we've been playing the last few years, and we do work really well as a unit. We've never really had, besides Mo Salah, a standout creative influence on the team. And, it was always Salah reliant, and that's why there's never really been any competition for Salah on that right-hand side, which I would like to see starting this window as well. But in saying that, it's his ability to hold on to the ball, his ability to get into space, create space. What it also will do, as we're kind of talking about pre-show, is if Darwin does stay, I think it'll unlock him. The main thing is because this guy is so good that people are going to be watching him in other teams, and they're going to see him as an absolute threat. And because Mo Salah has been double man-marked the last couple of seasons by everybody, you're going to see that ease up a small bit, which means you're going to start seeing a Mo Salah that doesn't have as much pressure on him on the wings as well. And I think that'll be a huge benefit to the team. And, even in games where we are, struggling or whatever, we can bring on people that can obviously change the game, Sabazai can create space. I mean, I don't think Elliott will be here next season, but you Jones that can come on. Endo is great to pop into a place and just release Gravenberg up a bit. If you need to do anything in the defense and bring on an attacker, you can take off maybe Kanate and you can drop Gravenberg or Endo back there if you needed to, which I don't want to see. I'd rather have us a new centre back in, but there's many elements. But Florian Wirtz, I think he's worth the money in today's market. At the same time, saying I don't think anybody's worth that kind of money, but we'll have to see how he's going to. I think he'll take the Premier League by storm, to be honest with you.
Okay, he may well do. It's a great answer, thank you, Kev. He may well take the Premier League by storm. In fact, I would kind of expect him to, but for that price. But my major concern would be the human nature that we're not very good at dealing with big numbers. Like, for example, if you tell me that Jeff Bezos is a trillionaire, world's first trillionaire, I'll say, oh, okay. But I've got no particular concept of the difference between a trillion and 982 billion, for example, or 982 billion and 973 billion. But that difference is 9 billion. So if anyone else has got that spare cash lying around and they can't tell the difference either, send me an email, koponpodcast@gmail.com. I'll figure out 1 or 2 things you could do with that money.
Are you an African prince by any chance?
Yes. Oh, coming to America reference. Excellent stuff. Oh, no, sorry. You were talking about the email phishing scams. Have you seen the people exposing those people? Is quite good, like hacking into.
I love watching them, guys. Yeah,
it's brilliant, isn't it? But anyway, sorry, we're digressing from the footage. Florian Wirtz, I'm here to convince you 3 that you're all wrong. Okay, believe me, you don't have to. I mean, of course, you I don't actually think I will manage to. But let me just give you the counter arguments here. So your arguments between you. You said it will annoy the hell out of the other fans. It will make them scared. He'll improve us massively. It's a statement signing. He'll free up Salah and more. Great arguments that you both put forward just then. And they're all very valid and they're all very true. And if you look at his actual assists, he's got 10 goals and 12 assists in the Bundesliga and 6 goals and 1 assist in the Champions League. So 10 goals and 12 assists in the Bundesliga, 2,351 minutes played. 126 million pounds. There's a guy who I've been talking about in our chat called Cherki, came on for France the other night when it was France versus Spain. France were 5-1 up and heading for their biggest defeat since the 1950s, I believe. And Cherki came on and he basically scored one and set up 3, or he's involved in the others. Sorry, set up 2. And they came back to 5-4, and he was the best player on the pitch by a country mile. Cherki has 11 assists and 8 goals in the French league, which I think is comparable to the Bundesliga. 11 assists and 8 goals from 2,041 minutes, roughly 300 minutes fewer than Florian Wirtz. Rayan Cherki doesn't turn 22 until August the 17th, whereas Florian Wirtz turned 22 in May. So Cherki's a little bit younger, very similar stats, and apparently Man City are very much in for him, and it would probably go that way. Just bear with me. I'm just putting forward a possible alternative. Okay, Cherki, let's say City want to pay 45 million. We can gazump them. We can pay 60 million for Cherki and give him a 5-year contract on 220k a week, and that will come to 118 million. Not even the transfer fee of Florian Wirtz. So if you're saving 60 million by or more, if you're saving 60 million and you're getting a player of Rayan Cherki's quality, which is also unbelievable, and he would also make a massive difference for us. And regardless, he won't make the other fans as jealous, because the other fans won't realize what a good player he is until he starts playing in the Premier League. So we won't have that for us, but he will make a massive difference. And success on the pitch, I just think for success on the pitch, you're looking at similar levels between Cherki and Wirtz. So if we save 60 million, then of course we can put that 60 million towards buying a Darwin replacement, or we could, or a fabulous centre back, and that will go a hell of a long way in terms of transfer fee and or wages. So there's that element. We can get someone basically similar to Wirtz for half the price, and I think that's going to be more in FSG's remit and the history, and it makes more sense of who we are as a club. Kev, what do you reckon?
No, you kind of hit it on the head there, just near the end of it. My thing is, you're looking at FSG. I think they've saved enough money over the last few years to be able to spend one big sale every 5 or 6 years, one big buy every 5 or 6 years. We did 2 over the course of Van Dijk and Alisson over a season or so, and split that kind of money up, the same kind of money. I know what you're saying. It's probably more plausible to do it, and smarter move to buy the lesser player. But then you have to think then again, hang on a second, who was City's first choice before Cherki? And it was Florian Wirtz, and because he turned them down, and they ran about the money, and the City are going to say it's the money, but he said it himself. He turned them down. He turned Bayern down. Bayern were willing to pay the money. Real Madrid had a look, but they can't do the Trent deal and the Mastuano deal and then do Wirtz at the same time to do a financial fair play. So it's down to us really. Bayern want to get the best possible outcome for the player, and Liverpool, we're going to meet in the middle. It's crept up from 100 and whatever it is to 113. They went 126. We'll probably meet in the middle at 120 and do a deal that way. And then Liverpool will probably say we'll give you 100 million up front or 90 million up front, and we'll do the structure of another 10 million per year over the next 3 years or something like that. And once the deal gets done, it gets done. But I'm me guys, I'm the most anti-transfer window person you'll ever meet, because I just think it brings out all the crazies and the fantasists. There's a lot of guys out there that just play Football Manager or FIFA too much, and they just believe that money is just created from thin air, and that just because people are rich that they have to spend their money on I get that they're owners of the clubs, but pretty much every person is telling the owners, I want you to bring my fantasy through. I want every great player on the planet to be playing for my team. And if you don't do it, I'm just going to badmouth you online. And that's pretty much what happens all the time on Twitter.
Yeah, but I'm not. I need to. No, we need to move away from the from Twitterati because
I get you. But that's what I'm saying. That's where the fantasy kind of goes along that line with the with that. But that's where I am with that. So I kind of avoid it. But this, I did say for the last few months, I said, lads, I expect a big window this time around. I said, I know there's the old saying of a war chest, but I was looking at the last few seasons, what we spent, what we didn't spend, and I'm saying there's actually some money there. I mean, it's been a couple of years now since the money for the from the new stand was done, and we don't tend to spend money at the time that we're building a new stand. If you haven't noticed that, we don't like the last time that was happening around the same time we got Vandenberg and all of these kind of players, and so I just think this time this guy's worth the risk. To be honest with you, I think we've taken worse risks in the past on the likes of Andy Carroll, and I just think because even in that time at the market value was the same thing. I just saw I can see the value in this guy. If you just said to me, let's pay 120 million on Cherki, I'd say no. I wouldn't see it there. Yeah.
But you see the value in it. You've seen a lot more Bundesliga than I have, and you may be exactly right. Yeah, but I want to bring Nigel in here because I'm going to give you a list on who's worth it and who isn't worth it. Okay, Nigel, because I've got a list in front of me of the biggest transfers in English football history. That's in and out. Okay, and we'll just go through the top 10.
Just give me 1 second, Dawn, for 1 second. Let me go back to 1982. I think it was.
Okay.
Man United paid 1.1 million, I think, for Brian Robson from West Brom. That transfer record wasn't broken until 1987. When we bought Peter Beardsley for 1.9 million. So
they were two great transfers. They were they helped.
Just a little bit of perspective there for you for the early 80s.
Absolutely. And now if you listen to this list, that's very good. Thank you for the perspective. Because now the list goes with Felipe Coutinho as at the top of the list with his sale was 100. I've got all the prices in euros. 135 million euros for Felipe Coutinho, and I'm not even going to ask you because you're all going to say the same thing. That was a flop, but he flopped at Barcelona. The second one, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Look what we got out of it.
Yes, exactly.
It's because we had a team that actually worked.
This is part of my point, right? That spending this money is frivolous. It's silly. Really think it's silly. The second one is Enzo Fernandez. 121 million euros. He's a good player. He's proved his worth, but
he's at the wrong club.
Is he the best midfielder even in the Premier League, let alone the world?
We've got the best Argentine in the world.
Exactly. And this is it all ties into my point. Eden Hazard is the next one when he joined Real Madrid for 120 million euros. I'd forgotten.
Is that money or weight?
in the 2019-20 season, the beginning of that, I can't believe they paid that money for him. What a waste of that. Was a flop as well. The next one on the list is Jack Grealish. Flop, 117 million euros. The next one is Declan Rice, who I would say has been a success. There you go. I think Declan Rice has been very good for Arsenal, but that's 116 million. The next one on the list is Caicedo. I think he will also be a success. The next on the list is Romelu Lukaku, joining Chelsea for 113 million euros in 21-22. And the next one is Paul Pogba. The least said, the better. And the next one is Gareth Bale joining Real Madrid. And I would say that was a massive success. I'm Welsh. I have a bias. But Real Madrid fans hate him, despite the fact that he won them 4 Champions Leagues, not single-handedly, but he was part of the team that won 4 Champions Leagues. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't watch enough of Real Madrid. But anyway, that's the top 9. That's all of the ones that are over 100 million euros. And of that, you could say an unqualified success. None of them. Probably a success, Caicedo, Declan Rice. That's 2 out of 9. And the rest flopped. And am I going anywhere near to convincing you, Nigel, that this is silly? This is silly. This is frivolous. We should pull out of it because no one's that good.
No, I'm still I'm all for giving this guy a go. He hit the post for Germany today, and he was very, very unlucky not to score.
Okay.
If he kind of cut back on himself and the ball hit the post, he was very unlucky. It's a very average German team. I watched them the other night, and he is the absolute shining light in that team. There was one decent cross into the box, and he scored a lovely header. He placed it into the corner like it was lovely. He just has something about him, I think. And if we have the right players and the right manager and the right staff to bring it out in him, I think, and in the right league, I think he could be an absolute, like Kev said it earlier on, he could take this league by absolute storm.
Okay.
I just
It
think,
depends on who's around him, you see.
yeah,
So
that's it.
I've noticed that he's kind of stepped back a bit in the last few games, but I think he's really ratting this move to go ahead. And I think this whole move is dependent on him coming out of the international window, being injury free and whatnot. So even though he was playing and he's easily able to play, he was kind of coasting through the game, and you could see it. Because that wasn't his normal game. Normally he's 110 miles an hour. Once he gets on that ball, he'll just run at you. His dribbling capability. The ball is like glued to his feet, really.
Got a bit of nasty in him as well, which I don't mind at all.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. Especially what he did to Bernardo Silva the other night.
Great.
He just gave him an old toe stamp the other night on his foot, and then took out Bruno. And then just started smirking from the side and looked towards the camera. So he was letting Liverpool fans know, yeah, I know who you don't like.
Leverkusen won a league for the first time in their history, and he was absolutely instrumental.
Oh, he was the best.
At 20 and 21 years old.
Yeah, him and Frimpong were just were the catalysts in the whole of that. They were fantastic in it.
He's won. He's won. Excuse me, but he's won the German Player of the Year twice at age 22, which is absolutely extraordinary.
Had an ACL,
and he came back from an ACL to do so. And I'm going to bring Douglas in here. I watched a video today, Douglas, of his dribbling skills, just dribbling skills for like 15 minutes. It was brilliant. But he's got that thing that Messi has and Mo Salah has, which is a very, very rare ability in footballers. And the way I phrased it before is that he sees things like cats see things. I don't know if you're aware of this, Douglas, or the people watching at home, but cats are able of filtering and processing more images per second than human brains are capable of, or many other animals. And this is why, for example, if you have a cat, they can sort of toy with a big moth before killing it. They just sort of jump up and toy it, whereas we wouldn't be able to catch the moth because they see things effectively in slow motion because they're processing so many frames. And occasionally, very occasionally, you get a footballer who's able to do that. And Florian Wirtz has that. And this is a big argument for him in the box of, yes, let's go for it. But I'm still, Douglas, I'm not convinced because I think other players have cat vision. Other players are going to cost a hell of a lot less. They're going to come with a lot less pressure. And if we're able to sign, for example, 2 great players for the same price as Wirtz, give me 2 great players every time. Douglas, am I convincing you at all?
No. I'll give you one reason. Cherki, there's something about him that puts me off. I don't know what it is, but I think if he goes in the City team and if he has any sort of games where he is like off it, Pep will be right onto him. And I think as well, like when I watched Leon against Manchester United, but bearing in mind it was only like that one game, he was fabulous. He was fabulous in the game. But I have a tendency to watch him sort of closely, and it looked like he was a little bit lazy at times. Now I don't know if he came to Liverpool, Slot wouldn't want lazy players. For me, Wirtz, as the lads have been saying, that Germany side is average at best. He is a shining light in that team. And I just think as well, when we look at the number 10s that we've had down the years, obviously Coutinho was very, very good. And then obviously, we got 146 million for it, which I think was absolutely crazy at the time. Szoboszlai is that number 10 this season, but he's not really got the goals, he's not really got the assists. So I feel that if you give Wirtz this attacking midfielder role or play him off the left, he is going to be very, very good. And look, I think we have to say it that I'll go away from the rival fans bit because I'm getting sick and tired of these Cherki versus Wirtz. Basically, who would you rather take? Which is nonsense to say the very, very least. For me, he's the real deal. And as I've said, I watch a lot of Bundesliga. He does love a shot as well. So, he can cut in. He can cut in from the left, he can cut in from the right as well, and he will take a shot on. That's something that I think Szoboszlai's been lacking a little bit. So I think we need. When was the last time we scored a goal outside the box? Like, I can't remember the last goal that we scored from outside the box.
We scored a few.
McAllister.
My memory.
Yeah,
yeah.
Aye,
And
McAllister.
Szoboszlai, that beautiful knuckleball shot over the
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
When Szoboszlai first came to Liverpool, he was doing shots outside the box.
Mhm.
Now, for me, I just think I look at Wirtz, and whenever he gets the ball, whenever he gets into the edge of the box, always tends to have a shot. I want to try and see like if Szoboszlai can do that. But look, Wirtz, wherever he plays, I think he's going to be a very, very exciting player. He's going to definitely excite the fans. He'll get you up your seats as well. He is a very, very good player, and he will become, if my memory serves me correctly, because I did this on X earlier, he will become the 10th German player to play for Liverpool. Now, there's a quiz for you guys. Who were the last 9 to play for Liverpool?
Oh, blimey! Come on, let's do this together. If you've got the answers, Karl-Heinz Riedler, Didi Hamann.
Correct.
Who were the other 9?
I saw the answers.
Okay. So
I would have got someone. I would have got Christian Ziege.
Oh man, I was talking on mute.
Marcus Babbel.
Yep.
That's 4.
Babbel was Dutch, wasn't he? Oh, sorry, the other Babbel. Sorry.
Yeah, no, not Ryan. Marcus. Yeah.
Marcus, great player.
Who else have we had from Germany? That's 4. There were
Ziegler.
Ziegler. Yeah. We said Ziegler. That's 4.
Wasn't a success. Good left.
Hamann said that. Yeah, we said Hamann.
Did you say that? Okay.
Yeah.
How many have you got? 4, 5?
We got 5 more to get. We've got 4. We need 5 more.
You're missing a very obvious one.
I mean, they're all obvious. Goalkeeper, Loris Karius.
Yeah, that's 5.
Excellent. Well, yeah, give me the positions. I don't know. There's another defender in there, isn't there? Midfielder.
One I'm not sure you'll get because he was in the youth quite a lot.
I know that one because I remember watching him in the youth team. But I saw the answers, but I know who that is. Samed Yesil.
Samed Yesil. Wow.
Yeah.
Would not have got that, but yeah. Glatzel as well is one. Paul Glatzel. So that's 6. We've got 3 more.
Got 3 more.
What positions?
Striker. But this.
Nemeth?
I got it. He was terrible.
Yeah.
The new Michael Owen, lads.
Yeah.
I remember the answer now.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Who was that? Who was that?
He was born in Germany, but didn't play for Germany.
No, he was born in South Africa.
He was born in South Africa. That's what it was.
Yeah. Sean Dundee.
Oh, wow.
Dundee.
Okay. I would not have...
Yeah, I remember now.
Okay. Yeah, the new maybe. I don't know. The new Crocodile Dundee, maybe. Okay, well, there you go. I give up on the others. Who are the others?
Emre Can.
Oh, yeah, Can. Why do I keep thinking he's Turkish?
And there's one more, or no?
There is one more. Let me just go back to my answers.
Okay.
Just while you're doing that, I'd like to thank Kev while we're on air for this. Thank you very much, Kev. Much appreciated.
Might as well tell the audience what it is first.
Yes.
Yeah, the programme for the Spurs game, which is magnificent, by the way. The gatefold programme, the gatefold on it is with the honours board is wonderful.
That was for the Crystal Palace game. That was for the lifting.
Yeah, the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Last game of the season, Crystal Palace. It was the Champions programme, the match programme. Absolutely beautiful. Well done, Kev. Were you there, Kev?
I was. Yeah. I was
there as well, I think.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we were there and stayed for the parade as well. And I was also right there when the tragedy happened. Also, right on the street. Yeah.
Saw you on the video.
Yeah, you see me on the video. Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, that video. Oh man, I'm so sorry. How are you doing, Kev? If you don't mind me asking you in there.
I am doing good. It's the first time I've kind of thought about it in about a week and a half, I'd say. But yeah, it was kind of tough. Me and there was 5 or 6 of us walking together, and we were split up into like 3 little groups. Fergal was just ahead of me. I was just behind. He was about 9 feet ahead of me. A couple of people got between us. And then we were coming out from, I think it's Covent Garden Lane, is that lane next to number 8 Water Street. But the lads were staying just below the Hooters restaurant in a place called You Stay. And we put our bags in there for the parade because I said, oh yeah, I got to grab a cab to get to the airport afterwards. We just came around, Ferg just got around the corner. I just got to the corner. And as I was coming to the corner, I seen 2 people kind of coming past me in a car going down the hill. So I was like, what's going on there? So 10 seconds, 15 seconds earlier, and we would have been walking on that street where he was just about to turn into the right there to people. And we were just, as you look down the street, you could just see kind of, legs and people falling over and the crowd kind of parting. And I was like, what's going on there? And then by the time we got down, people were hurt. And then everybody thought it was some sort of an attack. So we just opened the door to the apartment building. There was a long hallway. So I just started telling people to come in. And then, we got about 40 people into the hallway. And then they started going up the stairs around. I had the key to the apartment because I was the first one down. I lost Ferg. And the lads that were behind me turned around and ran the other way. The crowds were starting to run at them. So they thought there was something big happening, but I was already too far in to turn back. So, so by the time we got into the stairs, I got upstairs and then people were all scared. I was like going, did anybody see what happened? Anything like that, we didn't kind of know what was going on at the time. And even before that, we seen kind of like the lads kind of climbing to the car and trying to pull a fella out and all of that. But I was just telling people to get in from the door. I was kind of looking down around the corner to see what was going on. And we got a few people in, and then other people were just starting to get tended to by, there was just an ambulance just up the hill. So they came running down straight away to start to tend to people. And so we were just given, like, there was a couple of old folks and stuff on the stairs, and we were just bringing them in to use the toilet. I said, look, guys, I can't leave everybody into this place at once because I don't know what's going on. So I was just kind of saying, it's everybody's to make a way up around the stairs, and we were knocking on people's doors, and we were all kind of giving out water to them. And then letting people use the toilet back in and forth, and just made sure that the main doors to the building were locked. And I was like, don't open those doors for a good 10 or 15 minutes just to see kind of, what's going on or whatever. And then that was it, Eventually I got down, when the other lads arrived, I was like, what's going on? What's have to happen? I said, they told me then whatever's after happening, they've got the guy. I go, it's grand. So I started heading down the stairs, and I kind of went to ask this cop. I said, look, I'm going to have to leave in a few minutes. Is there any chance to get out? And that's, he said, yeah, I'll try. They were recording and everything else. I went up, grabbed my bag, came down the stairs. And then that's when you kind of see me in the video. I was actually heading up that hill that he was bringing me to. Then his boss, his superintendent, said, no, don't bring him that way. So I had to go back up the same alleyway that I came. And this is about 35 minutes later or something. And then as they did, I'm walking up to this wall of cops that have their backs to me, walking up the laneways, smacking battens off the floor, just trying to stop angry scousers from getting into the street because they just wanted to get at this fella, because they were just so angry about everything that's gone on. And then, the cop kind of tapped him on the shoulder and said, we need to leave this fella through. He's not part of that crowd. He needs to get out of here. He said he's getting a flight or whatever like that. It was so nice. They didn't have to care about that. They could have just told me, stand back or whatever. But they didn't, and I just stepped over. There was a railing. I stepped over into a car park and avoided all of them, and then just kind of went across that way. But yeah, it was, when you're in it, it's kind of scary. But, you don't know, I'm an ex-military man myself, and I've seen a couple of hairy things, but it had been 20 years since I've seen something like that. So,
sounds terrifying. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. And
I know, it's not me, man. I feel sorry for the people that were just trying to walk up the street singing songs, and had to have this absolute lunatic barreling down ahead against them. So, not. Anybody who's there, if they're probably in the same boat as me. Yeah, it's a horrible thing to watch, but it's not as bad as being the people that got hit. I can tell you that for a long while. Yeah.
The closest thing I've seen to that now is I was at the Lansdowne Road riot in 1995, England and Ireland. Yeah. I was in the same stand with the guys who rioted. Oh wow! They were at one end of the stand and we were at the other end. And there was this English guy in front of us with a kid, and he was petrified. He couldn't even talk. It was me and my cousin, and he was going, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And we just said to him, look, just keep your mouth shut and leave. He was apologising to us, shaking our hands and everything. And we just said to him,
it's nothing to do with you. Yeah.
It had nothing to do. And we were in the pub beforehand, just the two of us. We were up early. And next thing, 6 or 7 lads came in behind us, English guys, the usual tattoos, shaved head. And we actually seen 2 of the guys who had come in behind us in the pub, because you don't forget faces like that, you know what I mean? Getting deported the next morning, getting put onto the boat in handcuffs and getting deported. That had walked into the pub behind us. It was mental.
Yeah,
absolutely mental. No such thing as cell phones back in 1995 or anything like that. Trying to find a payphone, trying to ring home and stuff like that.
Yeah, it sounds terrifying.
It was strange.
I had a very strange experience at a music festival once. I was playing, and I was in the sort of car park area at the end of the festival with everyone sort of slowly packing up their tents and leaving. And some crazy guy was, it turned out that he was on crack, driving almost like full speed, like 50, 60 miles an hour through this field, trying to get away from something maybe in his head. And then security started following him, but this lunatic was driving through through the crowds of people, basically. I mean, everybody was able to get away. Everybody, it wasn't packed like it was on Water Street, but there were a lot of people there. There were still a couple of thousand people anyway. And everybody, it was absolute miracle because he went over some tents, as you might imagine, someone driving that recklessly through a field of campers, basically. And it's just an absolute miracle that nobody was in those tents that he drove over, because if anyone had been there, they wouldn't have known what was happening. They would have just been completely like squashed. But I remember when security finally, they managed to sort of ram him into a hedge, and there was a massive like lynch mob, basically, of people with all kinds of whatever weapon they could find. The people were so angry that this guy caused so much fear, and it was brilliant of the security guards who actually stood on the bonnet, I think it was, of the crazy guy's crashed car, saying, "Okay, everybody, calm down. We're going to let the authorities deal with it," because there were some people who basically wanted this guy dead. That's not even an exaggeration. And I mean, it was terrifying. Even that was such a long time ago as well, 20 odd years ago. But
just goes to show you how people come together when something like that happens, you know. You don't even know the stranger next to you, and all of a sudden you're picking up somebody with them and dragging them across the road with you. You know, it's nuts. You know, it's kind of the same camaraderie you see in the military sometimes. It's just it's something that you see, you know, and I don't blame them for being angry and wanting to tear them apart. You know, it's human nature.
It is human nature, and you know, but you know, I am glad that the lynching didn't happen at the same time, and I do think that you know, it's right that the authorities get to deal with him in an appropriate way, as opposed to like ripping them apart, which is what a crowd can do, you know. But anyway, sorry, it's taken a very dark turn, but there's a very dark moment in the. You were there as well, Douglas, but you were far from the incident, right?
Yeah, I was actually I was like halfway down the Strand, but I was like at the sort of the bus station, so I was like high up, so I couldn't see what was like happening afterwards, but obviously I seen obviously the players. But what I did hear, like after obviously when the bus passed, was like there was a few sirens coming down. There was like an ambulances, like police cars. I heard those sirens coming down. But no, thankfully, I was nowhere near it. I was very, very far away from it, thankfully.
Yeah, that's good.
But I did actually walk down that street as well. But this was like way, way before. It was like it must have been about 2:30. So it was like 4 hours before obviously what had happened. And as well, I've never seen Lime Street as busy as you can possibly imagine. I had to stay an extra night in Liverpool because of it.
That apparently was horrendous as well. They were blocking people out, and you know, thinking that the people were going to cause chaos inside Lime Street train station.
Honestly, that could have basically been another sort of crush. It was really, really bad.
Wow.
I basically queued up from about 6 to try and get my train home, which I think was about 6:49 that evening, and I was like, "There's no way I'm getting this train," because literally the queue was literally from basically Lime Street all the way up to like where the buses are as well.
Wow.
So no, I just made the decision that I would just stay another night. Message my bosses, and they were like, "Well, there's nothing you can do. You don't have your work laptop, so just get home safe." And I basically got the first train out of Liverpool on the Tuesday morning, and go home at about I think it was 11 a.m. So great weekend. Great just to be. I didn't have a ticket for the Crystal Palace game, but it was nice to be sort of in and around the atmosphere outside Anfield. You wouldn't think there was a game going on in Anfield, because there was loads of songs. Everyone was singing, the pyro flares. It was just absolutely magnificent, and obviously in the pubs as well, everyone was singing. No, it was
we bumped into each other. We bumped into each other after the game there as well, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, just by chance, really. I was trying to meet Doug at about how, because somebody said in the messages, or I'd be there 1:30. So I went to the Shankly statue at 1:30, but nobody was around, so I didn't see Connor or Doug. And then by the time that was finished, we were meeting other guys down below, and we were trying to leg it because we had to go and grab bags and stuff like that. And the lads had, I was just passing Doug, and I was like, wrong time, So I was trying to talk to him for about 5 minutes, and then I then had to head down the road again afterwards. So, but that was by a chance that we bumped into each other. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, these, the positive memories of everyone being there, having a great time. These are the things that we, make a conscious effort if the bad ones creep into the mind to squash them back with the positive ones, because it must have been an amazing party as well. And let's turn the conversation to some positives as well. I want to start a little sort of then and now, maybe a feature. Maybe I'll come back to this, because I think it's in the world, it's almost like time keeps getting what do you call it, like the past keeps getting almost erased, and the present is the only thing that matters, and we tend to forget. This is what I want to say. There's an amnesia. I forgot that was the word that I wanted to use. Amnesia, a collective amnesia in modern society, which we can talk for hours about in itself. But in terms of footy, I wanted to go back, and even to last year, to the beginning of last year, football-wise, June 2024. And on the 19th of June 2024, Arne Slot gave his first interview. And what I found funny was that the very first question that Peter McDowell asked him in his very first interview was, "How do you feel?" And Arne Slot's reaction was, his first thing he ever said publicly as Liverpool manager, "I'd say I feel energized because of the holiday I've had." Which, given his Ibiza links, given the fact that he's been explaining the subtleties of Jeremy Frimpong's new position in his system to Dean Gaffney and Wayne Lineker in Ibiza for about, he's probably there right now as we speak. He's been there for weeks. It's absolutely wonderful. But he said, among other things, among talking about his holiday, is Peter McDowell said, "We're looking forward to the season." And, the very last question that Peter McDowell said was, a good way to finish is a message from you, Arne Slot, to the fans. And Arne said something that wasn't memorable. There's no catchphrase in this one, unlike Jurgen. Arne Slot's reply was this: "Oh, you surprised me a bit on this question. There is a change, but the change hopefully isn't that big, because we still have the same players. We still have the same fans. And if the both of them are going to do the same job, that will make my life a lot easier. I'm expecting them to show up again in the upcoming season, and the same for the players. I will do everything within my interest and power to lead the team in the best possible way." And Douglas, I'm going to go back to you, because that is such an Arne Slot answer, because it's understated. It's not particularly memorable in terms of, like, Jurgen had the gift of the gab, but he was absolutely right. We've got the same players, we've got the same fans, and here we are, champions a year later. Just talk to me about Arne Slot. I haven't spoken to you about Arne Slot. Talk to me about how you feel then and now, 1 year on.
To be honest, like I'd only heard of like Arne Slot when like of his like Feyenoord days, because obviously like you watch like Champions League sometimes, and I think Feyenoord had beaten Bayern Munich, I think 3-0, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is really really interesting. And then obviously like the links were like happening of like who was going to sort of take over, and I think at the time I don't think it was sort of the most popular choice. But I think when we look back on it now, it was the best choice. Considering like some of the names that were being mentioned, like Amarim has been mentioned and like what's happened, but obviously we'll talk about him another day. He's been a breath of fresh air. In any press conference, he's straight to the point. He doesn't care about like upsetting anybody. He'll always get straight to the point as well. I think as well he doesn't really mind if he like upsets anybody. Some of the press conferences with like with obviously Trent and obviously now away. I don't think he doesn't like people who don't make 100% effort, and I really like that in what he's been saying. Now he's been an absolute breath of fresh air, and I think what was really, really telling as well, the fact that when we beat Manchester United 3-0, he came out and said after that, we knew how Manchester United were going to play, we knew how what Eric Ten Hag tactics were. The fact that he's like came out and said that, I think that was very, very refreshing to hear. Obviously he's been absolutely fantastic so far, and long may it continue. There's even talk that he's going to get a new deal already, which I think is the right thing to do. And I hope he is here for many, many more years to come, because as I said, he's been a breath of fresh air, and as we all say, it was basically like Shankly to Paisley almost. Klopp to Arne Slot. It feels that.
I'm gonna wait another 8 years and see if he's got 6 league titles and 3 league cups before I'm going to give Shankly to Paisley. But yes, I do see that there's a potential for that. Absolutely. No, great answer, Douglas. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Kev, what about you? I haven't spoken to you really about Arne Slot, how you felt about him a year ago and how you feel about him now.
Well, I'm similar to yourself. To yourself, Owen, when it comes to studying a lot of stats and things like that, and I do quite enjoy like you're more in depth about player stats and stuff like that. But I was looking through for about 3 months when I found out about Jurgen Klopp's departure. I started looking at guys that could replace and all of that. And yeah, I had Xabi Alonso at the top of my list to go. I also put in ones that weren't available, that were there. But I actually had Arne Slot down in 6th. But I just didn't think there was. I didn't think that Liverpool were going to go for somebody. I thought we were going to go for a higher profile. And somebody was there.
Was Ange 5th?
No, Ange wasn't. No, Ange wasn't anywhere near there. No, to be honest, I actually had him in 10th or something like that, just because he was a Liverpool fan and I just didn't think of any others. He was just above Frank Lampard. But But yeah, no, I had Ancelotti in there, which he was unattainable. Amram was in there because just how well he did with Lisbon and all of that. And then I was going out through like who the other managers. I had Thomas Frank in there, and I had De Zerbi there, but I had him like 8 or something like that. And but I slapped there because I just liked what he was doing at Feyenoord. I was looking at stats. I was looking at who's actually doing the numbers in the last 2 years, who's doing, who's up there doing, and Xabi Alonso was one, and Arne Slot was there. He was in like 3rd or 4th or something like that. I was like, who's this guy? And then I started looking into him a small bit. I watched him, and I watched him for about 4 nights in a row for about 20 minutes at a time, because I was more looking at, Xabi Alonso's games and stuff like that. So about 20 minutes of footage total. And I was like, oh, it's good football, but I don't think Liverpool are going to go for that caliber. They're not going to copy the kind of Ten Hag route. But anyway, outside of that, the man mightn't have the gift of the gab, but I think he's tactically sound. I think he's almost a genius in the way that he views football in certain angles. In the space it's the spaces that he plays within with his players, or he asks them to play within. He's no nonsense. If you're not going to put in the work rate, you're not part of this team, to be honest with you. They're Kwanzaa, for all his detriment, found that out 45 minutes into his first game for Arne Slot, and he pulled him straight off the pitch. He was recently saying, critical of Trent Alexander-Arnold, saying like, in one way you have the ability to be one of the best in the world, but you just don't apply yourself enough at all in games. And I think that was his way of saying, you took your foot off the pedal for the last season or so while I was here because you were protecting your big move. So that was kind of, but outside of that, did I think we'd compete? Yeah, we had the same team. I thought we'd get top 4. And at least be up to, I'll always think we're going to be able to challenge City and Arsenal of recent seasons, but mainly City, and at least always go for that kind of second spot. But never did I think that he'd have that much of an impact when he came in straight away. I'm delighted. I think the gap is getting wider from the time that Klopp spent here. That we don't need this as Liverpool fans. We don't need that warm hug that Klopp always gave us when he was on the TV or on the sideline, or that aura and feeling about him. And I just think we're just starting to respect. I think we totally respect what he's done now, Slap, but we're just starting to see his personality coming out now a small bit, and he's relaxed a bit more, and we know that he's serious about the job and he's coming across as serious, but it's just how he's applied himself has been fantastic, and his ability to change formations within games is something that Klopp was never really able to do with Liverpool. It was all about the heavy metal football, but changing tactically within a game, he didn't see that with Klopp.
Yeah, no, I mean that's all very valid. It's a great answer, and I agree. That is something that I love about Slot. How he's able to read a game really masterfully. I mean, Klopp was very, very good at that as well. I mean, obviously, Genius at it as well. 2 geniuses in a row, Klopp to Slot. Wow. Nigel, we've spoken about Arne Slot before, so I want to have a slightly different then and now question for you. Okay, and I'll give it to the other guys too, and then that will wrap up for today. But compare the Premier League at the end of last season to the end of this season. Last season that ended in 2024 to the one that has just ended. And the 2024 final table, we have Man City at the top on 91 points. And they finished this season on 71 points. That's a drop off of 20 points. Arsenal finished 2 points below Man City. They finished on 89 points. And this season, they finished on 74. That's a drop off of 15 points. That's absolutely mental, where your two main challengers for the league drop off by 20 points and 15 points, respectively. My question, Nigel, is do you think that they're going to bounce back in a similarly dramatic way, like to get to those levels again? Or are they, we don't need to worry about them?
We need to worry about them, no doubt about it. But City, a lot of City's big players, when they were winning leagues, dropped off. De Bruyne seems to have dropped off the end of a cliff, unfortunately. Class player. Silva, same thing. And a few others. And the guys that are there, the second tier, lads like Grealish, just not on it. Just haven't got the same ability. I don't care what they pay for them. They just haven't got the same ability. They seem to have signed a couple of decent guys already. They're going to have to be worried about. If Arteta can get his head out of his arse and when they're in winning positions, stop trying to sit back and soak up pressure like he did against us earlier in the season and has done it several times. And they signed a striker. He's just seemed to be really, really, really pig-headed. And I'm going to do this my way. And you've got to evolve. Jurgen evolved. Arne Slot came in. And as the season went, like Kev said there earlier on, we all found out about Jarell Quansah being taken off at half-time. It's evolution. It's a team evolving. Who can make a difference to my team? Arteta doesn't do that. He hasn't got... He wants to kind of stick to his own system. And they suffered for it. They suffered for it badly. I'm not sure that'll change with them. I actually don't think it'll change with them. I don't think they could have another drop off as far as I'm concerned, because if he doesn't evolve, it's the same thing again.
I agree. I think Arsenal are on, but I think they have great players, but I think they're on a period where they need to replace a good number of players. In Martinelli on the left, he's going to be on his way out. They need a striker. Saka is constantly getting nasty little injuries where he's out for 3 or 4 months at a time now. Their midfield seems sound enough, and they're two central defenders.
Partey can't stay. Is Partey going, or is he staying? He's going, isn't he?
I think he's.
He can't stay there because if he stays, he'll be in jail.
Yeah. So I think there's another transition moment coming up for Arsenal, and I don't think there's going to be too much patience left with Arteta. I think the only reason he's getting that patience is because he's the next player.
I mean, the Arsenal fans, some of the Arsenal fans that we know, Douglas as well. We were on the late great Stephen Featley's channel a few times as guests, and he was saying years ago, Arteta's a bluffer. He's a chancer. No one can see it. He was Arteta out from the get go, and he's been proved right. You know, I think it's Arsenal. Yeah, I totally agree with the guys that I can't see them coming back. Maybe if they sign a brilliant striker, if they sign, for example, Gyökeres, if they want to take that risk, and then he turns out to be as good as he seems to think that he is, Gyökeres himself, then that could be transformative. Having a striker is transformative if they're unbelievable. But Doug, I mean, that's such a huge drop off for Man City then. 20 points. Can they jump 20 points again better next season to get back to the 90 points, 91 points?
I've been kind of listening to what you all have been saying. For me, I think the main thing with City is obviously having Rodri back. I think that's going to be absolute key. But it's whether or not Pep learned from his mistakes this season. And I think one thing that he did last season, he didn't really use his squad. I think he used about 27 players out of a possible sort of 35 that he could have probably used. And I think when you look at City as well, some of the signings in January did not make any sense. Nico Gonzalez doesn't seem to have a future there. That Kuzanov, or whatever his name is, he doesn't seem to have a future. The only good player that they signed was Omar Marmoush. Now, Omar Marmoush, I've seen on X from really silly accounts saying Omar Marmoush is a flop. There's no way Omar Marmoush is a flop. He was undoubtedly, for me, City's best player since he joined in January. I think we're going to see City be better next season. Arsenal, for me, I think their time has come. It has been and gone, I should say. Because I just look at that Arsenal side, and Nigel's absolutely spot on. Arteta is very naive, very arrogant, doesn't want to change his ways. I think for me personally, I think it is between Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal. But I think you'll look towards probably earlier this sort of what basically happened was injuries started to pile up for Arsenal. Injuries piled up for Manchester City. I think we've got the best sort of injury department in our team right now, and I think it's been proven that all season long. I've seen people say Chelsea maybe and with a shout. I look at Chelsea's side and I think they've got a good side. If they get that Mike Maignan, look, he is a good goalkeeper, but the problem is I don't think Chelsea have the defence that can bail him out at times. I just don't think they've got the defence. Midfield, they've got striker now. I mean, how much games is Liam Delap going to get? Like that's my main issue with Chelsea. And I just look at the Osimhen deal falling through with Al Hilal today, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, Osimhen just seems like a Chelsea type signing. Just seems like it. So I think if Chelsea were to get that kind of striker, then I think maybe they'll be in and around there. Manchester United and Tottenham, I'm sorry, for people who are already doing their early sort of form predictions, some people are having Manchester United 6th. There is no way on this earth that they're climbing 9 places.
Was that Gary Neville?
No, believe it or not, it wasn't. But I've seen like videos this week of like bookies' favourites. Liverpool are obviously the bookies' favourites to win the league, but I've seen people put Manchester United 6th, Tottenham 7th, and I'm sorry, but if you think Tottenham are climbing 10 places, if you think Manchester United are climbing 9 places, and I'm sorry, you're very, very deluded because of how poor Manchester United and Tottenham were last season. Now, look, Tottenham sacking Ange, I kind of get it. 22 defeats in the league is absolutely unacceptable. 17th in the league is absolutely unacceptable. Yes, I know obviously they got the Europa League trophy, but if you sack Ange, then how are Manchester United not sacked Amorim? It baffles me. I think as well some of the signings that they're looking to make as well. Matheus Cunha is a very good signing, bit of a hothead, I've got to say. Brian Mbeumo, I think, is a fantastic signing. Look what he's done in that Brentford side. 20 goals this season has been absolutely amazing. But they still need a goalkeeper. Onana and Bayindi are absolutely trash. Safest thing to say there. And I just think defensively they're all over the shop. As well. So for me, I think the title contenders for me next season, I think you go 4. I think it's Liverpool, City, Arsenal, and if Chelsea get that big striker in, I think they could be a bit of a problem. But, and I will say that we are the team to beat next season.
I agree.
And I think, don't rule out Newcastle.
Newcastle's interesting. It's an interesting call. Yeah, I mean, Newcastle were 5th. Okay, they finished on 66 points. Chelsea finished on 69 points. I think if you're going to sign a top striker, that'll get you another 10 points. So they'll finish on about 79. Newcastle have a few more problems. Their first team is amazing, especially when Tonali plays. They missed him badly when he was out. And they could improve again another 10 points, getting to 76. It's still not going to be enough to win them the league as it is, but it's all too early to say that. You never know who's going to sign things. Anyone. Nigel, yeah?
Just like to say, under no circumstances do I want Anthony Gordon. at Liverpool. No
100%.
circumstance.
We had the same conversation last season. I was in full agreement with you there. But why this season? Why has it remained the same? Because I've sort of softened on my Gordon stance. I think he's a good player, no?
Yeah, he's a decent player, but he's no. You're looking for end product, and people are giving out. DS doesn't do enough. He does more than Gordon does.
That's very true. And in that position, actually, forget Gordon, Bradley Barcola. I'm saying it until the right person hears this and forwards it to their mate who knows somebody in the scouting or recruitment department at Liverpool FC. Bradley Barcola, I have on very good authority, is keeping his options open this summer. Now, Bradley Barcola, 14 goals and 10 assists from 2,181 minutes. We had a £130 million bid rejected for Florian Wirtz. That kind of player in that kind of position, Barcola, I'm talking about, Barcola in his position, fast as he is, a brilliant defensive worker as he is, he's only 22 years old as well. That man is an absolute killer. He's absolutely wonderful player, and he's 6'2", and he can dribble and shoot and score, and he's got 2 feet. I put all of the money instead of on Wirtz, on Barcola, and that's something that I don't expect too many people to agree with. But we're going to leave it pretty much here. But Kev, yeah, you want to say?
No, it's just about Barkley. I agree with you with Barkley. I think he's a great player, and I think he would suit our system very, very well. I wouldn't need to cancel the Wirtz deal to get him in, though, because if the only reason he would be coming in is if Luis Diaz left, and if Luis Diaz left, we're not getting anything less than 85-90 million from him. And I think Barkley could be got for 60 million easily. Over that, and I mean, like that's with the add-ons included, so probably 45 million up front. And
he's been more than that from PSG. So? Yeah,
I know. I get he's from PSG, but I'm just saying he's been developed by his PSG. I know he's done something with the team and all of that, but I haven't seen him, worth that kind of value on the stage. And there's with players like that, they probably have a buyout clause under their first contract and a half. So it's intriguing, but I think no more than 60 million. Does it for him, I think. But at the same time, if Luis Diaz money there, you're going to have the Creevy and Keller money, which is not much. You're going to have you add that to the Trent Alexander-Arnold money. You're talking maybe 25 million in total. Over that, maybe 30 million almost in total. You're looking at the Harvey Elliott money coming in. You're looking at there's going to be sales made. It wouldn't surprise me if Quansah left. Would not surprise. I'd like to keep Joe Gomez around because I think he's a great utility player. But I wouldn't be surprised if Quansah left. I wouldn't be surprised if Elliott leaves. I think Martin he's been talking about leaving lately. Ben Doak is going to be on the chopping block to leave as well, I think. So that's a good money being brought in there by Liverpool. And I think with players like these kind of caliber, whatever about leaving, we normally tend to sell our players that have of a higher standard quality at 35 million. So yeah.
And no to Rafael Leao as well.
Yes,
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of him. I think he is almost as bad as Adama Traore.
Good Lord. I've got Adama Traore bias because I've got the same birthday as him. But yes, I agree that I wouldn't have him for Liverpool. An impact player when you're 5-0 up, I freaking love to see him play for Liverpool just for the dribbles. I mean, he is amazing to watch. But anyway, we're going to keep daydreams about Adama Traore to one side. This has been really, really nice talking about is Florian Wirtz worth it? Talking about Arne Slot, talking about, as well as the very difficult memories, that also the positive memories from the parade, and talking about, potential signings and chucking in the odd dig at Man United there as well. Thank you very much, Douglas, for those for that as well. So thanks, Douglas. Thanks to Nigel, and thanks to Kev. Does anybody have anything particularly pressing to say before we chip off?
No, just I'm like, to anybody who listens to this, if there's any German fans of the podcast over there, I fly out on Wednesday. We're doing a tour in Munich with the band. So Thursday we're playing Kennedy's venue, and then we're playing Killian's, and then on the Saturday we're playing the middle of the town centre, the usual escapade there, but it's for the Bayerisch Festival, which is it's a celebration of the Irish in Germany and all of that. So it's kind of like a second Paddy's Day, but it's more for the German Irish and the likes of that. And everybody just gets involved in that, so it's pretty much the same thing.
And
So yeah,
how
we're
can
playing
they
that.
how can
And
they find you?
is it all in the
You'll
same
find
area, Kev, or are you touring around?
It's all around Munich this time only, but it's all different venues and stuff like that because they wanted people were asking, "Scott, can you play here? Can you play there?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." So we do Kennedy's on the Thursday, we're doing Killian's on the Friday, and then the Saturday is the main one on the big stage in the middle of town. So it'll be a nice
Remind
couple of warm
listeners
beers.
the name of the band.
The Hush, you'll find us the Hush or the Hush Band Ireland or the Hush Rock Revival. You'll find us as well under. So yeah,
Excellent stuff. Douglas, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, just the answer to the quiz question.
Yes.
I asked. So, I did check Robert Glatzel or Paul Glatzel.
Paul
whichever it was.
Glatzel, yeah.
Paul
He's English,
Glatzel.
isn't he?
He's
I said
English.
him. Yes,
Yeah,
but he's English and German. He's half. But carry on. Yeah, he's Scouse
Yeah.
German. Okay.
So the answers were as follows: Karl-Heinz Riedler, Loris Karius, Emre Can, Sama Jezel, Sean Dundee, Marcus Babel, Christian Ziege, Dietmar Hamann, and the one we didn't get, which I was shocked to find out about this, Melkamu Frauendorf. Came through the youth, played one game for Liverpool football.
we just got rid of him a season or so ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right back, isn't
He was
right
captain of the German under-16 team. Yeah, very good player.
Very good
Very
player.
good player.
Yeah, tricky, fast, pacey player. Could play at the wing as well. Well, there you go. Thank you so much. That's great to know. Thank you very much, Douglas. And so check out Kev's band, The Hush, if you're in Munich or around there, or if you're not, then drive there and check out some gigs and the celebration of the German Irish there. Thank you so much to Nigel as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to the listeners.
Some late news. Some late news. I'm just getting it here. It's just saying that Uriah Rennie, the referee, has died at age 65. So
R.I.P.
just like to,
That's very young.
Oh wow.
he was a good referee, Uriah Rennie. So rest in peace.
He was very rarely a good referee, absolutely. And yeah, wow, rest in peace, absolutely. Okay, well, wow, that was a bit of a shock news, yeah.
Sorry.
To hear that. No, but I mean, good to know. Thank you for sharing. So there you go. But whoever you are, wherever you are listening to this, I do hope you're well. Do send us an email, koponpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much. You'll never walk alone.